catastrophe, a superhero surfer, to a colossal collectible. I'm Don Wildman, and these are Monumental Mysteries. A box that holds the seeds to a sinister terror plot.
They said, "Death to America, you have been poisoned with anthrax."
An icon's death that is shrouded in mystery.
And it was labeled a probable suicide.
And a Civil War submarine that vanishes without a trace.
There was desperation on board that night.
I'm Don Wildman. Join me on a journey across the United States as we go deep into the vaults of the nation's most revered institutions, unearthing wondrous treasures from the past, extraordinary artifacts, and bizarre relics, each with a shocking story to tell and a secret to be revealed. These are the mysteries at the museum. In the heart of downtown Atlanta sits an institution dedicated to educating visitors about the planet's most terrifying outbreaks. This is the David J. Sencer Centers for Disease Control Museum. Among the many chilling displays is this seemingly simple cardboard box. And according to CDC scientist Dr. Tanya Popovic, it harkens back to a time when panic, paranoia, and death stalked the nation.
The box itself is just like a regular carton box, but it has a number of labels that describe a biosafety hazard.
The contents that once traveled in this box killed 5 people and shut down the nation's capital. So what did this box once carry? October 2001. The nation is still reeling from the attacks of September 11th, when doctors at a Florida hospital admit a 63-year-old man. He is disoriented, unable to speak, and is running a high fever. When they give the patient a spinal tap, the tests reveal a startling diagnosis.
A physician looked at the microscopic results and he said, "I think this person might have anthrax."
Anthrax is a deadly disease caused by a bacterium that grows in soil. But the disease is typically contracted by animals, not people. So doctors immediately alert the Centers for Disease Control.
It just didn't seem logical that this guy would have been in any place where he could have been exposed to anthrax.
Investigators at the CDC immediately get to work to establish how this office worker could have contracted the disease. Objects from the victim's home and office are carefully packed in special biohazard boxes, like this one, and shipped to Atlanta. And when CDC investigators inspect the contents, they find the man's keyboard is covered in microscopic anthrax spores.
And that was the moment where we were absolutely sure that this could not have been a naturally occurring disease, because anthrax spores could not find their ways to an office and somebody's keyboard.
Before investigators have time to get any further, a shocking news story erupts. People around the country are being diagnosed with anthrax. And letters containing anthrax start to appear at the offices of high-profile figures, like U.S. Senator Tom Daschle and NBC News anchor Tom Brokaw. Accompanying the letters are sinister handwritten notes.
They said, "Death to America, death to Israel, you have been poisoned with anthrax."
Anthrax, it seems, is everywhere, and it appears to be traveling through the mail.
These letters ended up causing infections among at least 22 people, and 5 died. The Capitol, the Supreme Court were found to have anthrax.
In the wake of 9/11, these mysterious cases all seem to point to one culprit: terrorists, armed this time with biological weapons instead of planes.
It became clear to virtually everybody that this was a deliberate attack.
Then, as quickly as the attack started, they stopped. But behind the scenes, the FBI continues to search for those responsible, interviewing over 10,000 witnesses on 6 different continents. And finally, in 2008, they hone in on a possible culprit. An American scientist who was consulting with the FBI when the anthrax outbreak first started. His name is Bruce Ivins.
Bruce Ivins was assigned to developing a vaccine against anthrax. And I believe the FBI considered him an asset to their investigation.
But as the FBI looks closer into Ivins' behavior, a different picture emerges.
He was known to send threats and letters of complaint rather freely to members of Congress. He had kept a separate postal box. He would send these secret letters out with some pseudonym.
What's more, the FBI claims that Ivins' lab contains a strain of anthrax identical to the one used in the attacks. Investigators suspect that Ivins' twisted motivation is to promote an anthrax vaccine that he has created by making people sick with anthrax.
What he was aiming to do, theoretically, was to get the concerns about anthrax higher up on the agenda.
But as the FBI prepares to charge him with murder, Ivins commits suicide.
The FBI's contention was that it was because he would have felt so assured of a conviction that he couldn't bear it.
Soon after Ivins' death, the government declares the case closed. But close observers of the anthrax scare continue to harbor doubts about Ivins' guilt.
Doubts linger, and they will continue to linger in the same way that there are conspiracy theories that go on and on.
The true identity of the anthrax killer may always be debated, but this ominous biohazard box from that sudden outbreak still sits at the CDC Museum in Atlanta, reminding visitors of a harrowing time when terror was delivered through the mail.